The Flames will be missing the playoffs again, and is still so much room for them to grow before they should really consider being a playoff team.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me. Today, we will be discussing the elephant in the room, and that would be the Flames being eliminated from playoff contention. But before we dive into all of that, please make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your Calgary Flames every day. And let's jump right into this. Oh my goodness. So the Flames did win today in a shootout, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later. But let's talk about the the elimination. So there were a few scenarios that they needed, and neither of those happened. Both St. Louis and Minnesota won, and that sealed the deal for the Flames. They can go on their vacations probably like this time next week. They will be on an island. They will be in the Caribbean. They will be in Mexico. They will be maybe in Italy. Who knows? But the season is over after the 17th. So it's disappointing. I think that it's you no matter what the expectations are, you still hope that your team can make the playoffs. You want to watch good hockey. You root for your team, even if there's still room for them to grow. Finishing ninth in the West is really exactly what I would expect from them. I mean, that what is more Calgary Flames than the soggy middle? But this is another step in hopefully the right direction, because we know that the Flames are sorely lacking in certain areas. A center, and a true elite number one center would do wonders for this team. And there's really only a few ways you're going to acquire those when you're in the position that the Flames are in, and we have been there. We have discussed this. It is the draft. But, maybe this kind of puts everyone back in their seats and realizing, hey, we're not ready for a playoff run. It's great what we did and great what this team accomplished, but here are performance evaluations or what have you, and just showing that Flames do have a lot of room to grow, and there's nothing wrong with that. We knew going into this season that this was the expectations were low. I don't want to say it was going to be a down year, but it certainly wasn't going to be a year where we expected any of this. So the fact that they're even they were in the playoff push until game 81, I will give them credit. It was a lot of hard work. And, obviously the players met with the media post game. And if there is one person that is going to give you an excellent quote, transparency, honesty, not holding back, but not in a negative way, it is Mackenzie Weegar. And this is from Wes Gilbertson's Twitter page. He transcribed this after meeting with the players. Okay. I think for next year, it kind of sets us up to have higher standards and higher expectations now. When expectations were low, we proved people wrong and we did the right thing. Nobody thought we could have done this year. Well, people know that we can do this. So next year, I'm assuming expectations and standards are going to be higher. That's what I want here. I want the expectations. I want people to think we're going to be in the playoffs. It gets everybody in belief again. It obviously is sad and disappointing, but there's a lot of good things that happened this year, and we took a lot of steps forward. I love his optimism. Obviously, uh, players in the thick of it are going to be a lot more aware of what is going on than, say, somebody who just talks about this podcast with no media access. But it while they did take some steps, there are still a lot more steps that they need to take before they are a contender, and not just, oh, like win and squeak in sort of deal. Um, and Eric Francis has another good quote from Uyghur. We said, let's do it for ourselves, let's do it for each other, and let's do it for the fans. Let's give them one more comeback. Why not? So we did that, and it's just been one hell of a fight. So that was Uyghur on tonight's win. Where where are these kind of quotes from Michael Backlund, the captain of the team? And that's a whole other topic that we can dive into and unpack, but I feel like there are a lot of hands in the leadership pot, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but there isn't really a clear, distinct voice from your captain, but rather the guy who will probably be the next captain after Backlund leaves or retires. But coming up next, we are going to take a look at the fallout from the first period of the Flames game, and then the victory over the Vegas Golden Knights. Coming up next here on Locked On Flames. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they are packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. They are the perfect grab and go snack for busy days, whether I'm on the run or I'm at work or just need a quick pick me up throughout the day. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Jess Belmosto. So after Vegas went up 1-0 to start the game, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little uncomfortable. I did not have high hopes. And mind you, Anaheim was still beating Minnesota at that point. So I was like, that's it. Like, uh, this opportunity is on the table and they're just wasting it. Obviously did not end up happening that way. But I think the biggest issue for them was coming out with no energy. I don't know what it is about this team where it's like too little too late sometimes. I mean, granted, they have been lucky and they have completed a handful of comebacks, but they just come out all blah and don't really get their feet moving quick enough. They aren't out there doing enough to, control the first period. And to not be able to do that against a Vegas team that is sitting their stars, what I, I don't know why you think you're gonna go into the playoffs and beat the Winnipeg Jets or do anything against them. But I will say Morgan Frost's power play goal was wonderful. It was absolutely a monkey off his back. You could see that, when he scored that, it was like a sigh of relief. The weight of the world was lifted off his shoulders, and I'm happy for him. That's fantastic. And obviously, he did score the shootout winner too, which was chef's kiss. But it just stinks that there was nothing they could do by the time they left the ice being down 3-1 to put themselves in a play in like keep themselves in the race for the playoffs. So when that happened, I fully expected them to come out in the same way for the second period. I expected them to be lackadaisical or, just a foot off the gas. Like there wasn't going to be any, it was just going to be coasting. Um, and then Kadri opened the scoring immediately. And before there was any time to process that, Adam Klapka tied it up, scoring two. The team scored 2 goals in 20 seconds to tie it up, which was shocking and kind of disappointing because, again, there is literally nothing they can do to be in the playoffs, like to save themselves. And I guess, like, you could absolutely see the defeat on Kadri's face when he scored. He's congratulations on setting a new career high, 33 goals. Glad you could do that. Um, but to just sit there and like watch the disappointment kind of settle in, it stinks. But then you weren't given much time to think about that because 20 seconds later, Klapka scores. But it is hard to beat that. And it's hard to put into words like how quickly they bounced back and found themselves back in this game. And I know that everyone's like, haha, like that's the Flames. Like, what else should you expect? And it's like, yeah, no, like it's great that they can complete the comeback, but also maybe they should try not having to play from behind and either scoring first or holding a lead, like something to give fans something like honestly to make their lives easier. It's not even about the fans. To make their lives easier and not have to play from behind because that is a lot more work. It goes without saying, but Dustin Wolf was stellar. He had some huge saves in the second, third overtime and the shootout. That just, it makes you really grateful and excited to see what the future holds for him. There is still so much to be done to get the team to a truly competitive point. Um, but knowing that you have Dustin Wolf and a very good goalie, not locked up, kind of makes things a little easier, uh, little easier to digest. But I just I want something to change. I want there to be some sort of epiphany, something over the off season for Huska or for one of the other coaches, Conroy, anyone, to try something new. Try a new system. Because the trap defense, it only works so well. Also, I think that they're just because the Flames lack like a truly elite scorer. Like I'm talking Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau level of scoring, and skill. They don't have the ability to, capitalize on all the chances. I think what really helps is, of course, that net front presence, and you have that with Adam Klapka, who's huge and can, typically will tip it in. Connor Zary does a great job. Matt Coronado has a great shot, but you still need more. And it comes back to, again, an elite center. But there's there were there was progress made this year. And ultimately that's what matters when you are looking to become a competitive team again. And even if those steps kind of feel like they diverted from the plan, that's okay. It's I I saw a quote the other day. Um it was like the wrong steps to the dance are still part of the plan or something like that. And it's true because you could make wrong moves, but it's still part of what's going to get you to the finish line. Now, I'm not saying go out and sign John Tavares to a 7-year deal in free agency. That would be a very wrong dance step, but and would set the organization back big time. But there it's not going to always go smoothly, and I think we can all understand that. But coming up next, we are going to talk about what is on our radar for the final game of the Flames regular season. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelancers across multiple industries, including IT, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Visit upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's upwork.com. Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you are subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. And we'll be here daily, even once the season ends. Well, you are stuck with me. And I hope that you decide to make show part of your off-season listening when you get that itch and miss hockey. But Thursday night, the Flames finish up the season in LA, who will be taking on the Edmonton Oilers. And they actually have home ice for once. So congrats, Kings. You did great. Um, you're gonna see Suniev and Perek. I guess better late than never. Every coach makes their decisions. You don't have to agree with them. Do I think Zane Perek would have been a better defenseman than Joel Hanley, Pahal, or Jake Bean? Yeah, more than likely. Did Ryan Huska believe that? No. Or if he did, just not enough to make any changes. And Suniev, I guess there wasn't a forward that needed to come out of the lineup. So we'll see what happens. If I was a betting woman, I would say that Perek fills in for Anderson. Or Anderson plays. And it's, I don't know, another right-handed defenseman, obviously. So maybe it'll be Pahal. It won't be Jake Bean because Jake Bean is a left-handed defenseman. And I don't think you want to honestly, Ryan Huska might just put him on his off side because why not? Try anything, especially in your first NHL game, right? But just go out there and have fun. Truly, that is what matters. It is game 82. This group has been through a lot this season, and they defied expectations. They beat the odds. They didn't make the playoffs. And that's, the unfortunate situation. But this group talks all about how much they love and care about each other and how, you know, they're a very tight-knit group, and that's what matters to them. It's more about, you know, having those strong connections that helps the on ice product. I agree, but unfortunately, sometimes those bonds, like, they have to kind of, uh, you got to break free from them so you can rebuild. And I know that's not what I don't enjoy hearing that. But I do think there are likely players that you will not see back next year. And we'll do a whole uh, you know, unpacking the season and predictions and sort of things like that later on, but I just think that there is a spectrum of, keeping players happy and building a good environment to whatever Vegas and the Rangers are doing, to more so the Rangers because they they have a whole PR disaster going on there. Made comments about Jacob Trouba, then traded him away. Um, and then the stuff with Calvin DeHaan, like I get it. Not everyone's going to be happy, but it's a business. And sometimes decisions have to be made, and there's absolutely a right and wrong way to approach them. I think that the Flames have done a good job approaching them, pretty realistically. I think that they fumbled the Markstrom trade big time the first time around, and what's past is past. But uh, sounds like once that fell apart, Markstrom was never going to play for the Flames organization again. So, you just gotta keep trucking, keep moving forward. Thankfully, the Flames do have they not only do they have Dustin Wolf, they do have some pretty solid depth in goaltending in their organization, whether it be, Devin Cooley or some of the guys that they just have, whether it's the NCAA or if the players they just signed to their ELC, like there's a lot of great talent coming up through the pipelines. But right now, we got to focus on Dustin Wolf. And like I mentioned earlier, we will be doing like a full like post-mortem of this Flame season. And I'm looking forward to it because I think that there is a lot that we can talk about and a lot to learn from. But that will have to wait another day. Make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your Calgary Flames every day. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.